Rahim. As you know, my name is Hanan Sa'adeh, and I'm from Jordan. I will tell you briefly about the features and mainly the limitations of JUVAC, our Van de Graaff Accelerator at the University of Jordan. Just to let you know where I'm coming from, if you zoom of the region that it's so called as Middle East, if you zoom on Jordan and Palestine, I'm coming from these two countries, Jordanian, Palestinian. The accelerator itself is in Amman, the capital of Jordan. And it's located inside the University of Jordan, which is the oldest and the most important higher education institute in Jordan, where I did my PhD and my bachelor as well, and where nowadays I'm an assistant professor of atomic and molecular physics. JUVAC stands for the University of Jordan Van de Graaff Accelerator. It's basically an ion source accelerator, electrostatic linear accelerator, single-ended from high voltage engineering since more than 30 years. It's basically a grant from Germany. It was supposed to give energy up to 4.75 mega electron volt, which never reached that value. And unfortunately nowadays we are unable to go beyond 1 mega. And in terms of ions, we can accelerate what kind of positive ions you want. And it was designed to host 7 beam lines, but it never hosted more than 3 operational beam lines simultaneously, let's say. And why it's, or at least we consider it special, because it's the only IBA facility in Jordan. And for some periods, not long ago, it was the only accelerator in Jordan. Now we have synchrotron light source, which is Sesame, but it is still the only and unique IBA facility in Jordan.
Ask them ions from that machine.
And personally for me, it's special because it's the place where I got my PhD. So it's the place where, and I don't have master's degree. So it's the place where I was born as a scientist. And even it's the reason where I got in love, let's say, of atomic and molecular physics. I was at that time bachelor student when I had the chance to pay a visit to this lab, and then I got the decision that I will come back again here and do my research. And I did. And this is a schematic diagram of the Van de Graaff Accelerator, which looks very similar to the diagram of ours. But I moved it upside down to make it vertical as we have. This is from Chu book. It was a general schematic diagram. Ours is exactly the same in vertical position. This is an actual view while the tank is open. And this is another view also while the tank is open and it's left up. And as it is in vertical position, it exists on the upper floor. So downward, this is the, I don't know if you have pointer, but this is how the ions are accelerated downward. And then there is an analyzing magnet to bend the ion beam by 90 degrees towards the horizontal direction. At the end of this room would be the switching magnet, where you select the ion beam and you select which beam line to direct the ion beam to, and then it follows the lenses or the quadrupoles to focus the beam more. And in terms of beam lines, it is designed to host 7. Now the 3 attached are the 3 operational in principle, but to be honest, I will show the one at the 0 degrees port, which is the one that is currently producing science since about 6 years. Others are not producing anything because of the lack of either bombs or detectors or electronics, or even the lack of the users and the beamline scientists. This is the one that I'm focusing on since I got my career at the university as a faculty member.
You know it is produced in this lab?
I know, yes. It happened that I met Dr. Milko for the first time in 2017 in Bixi conference, and I was presenting part of my first trials at that time, and he told me the story.
Yeah, okay.
So this is an external view of the Bixi RBS chamber. Now I call it Bixi RBS chamber, but since 1980 it's always called the IAEA chamber. And this is an internal view of the two BICSI and RBS detectors that were installed and optimized basically to do aerosol analysis, but hopefully in the future we are looking to do other kinds of analysis like cultural heritage if we got the chance. And in terms of parameters that ordered by the agency to reflect the status of JUVAC, in terms of funding, you could say that we either don't have or we have very limited fund. Basically, our limited fund comes from the IAEA, not mainly dedicated for this purpose, but through TC projects. We got benefited from the IAEA fund. In terms of the University of Jordan fund, we have very minimal support. Most of the time, it's not accessible. They put it in a way that you will never get it. And unfortunately, because the accelerator is in the university, which is an advantage for us as users, but also there is a disadvantage that it's not considered as a national lab. So we don't get anything from the country.
Does it, the question, does it mean that University of Jordan has bigger facilities or some more
than the
important?
accelerator?
Yes.
No, I think it is one of the biggest, if it's not the biggest among
So
other facilities.
They don't consider that important, or there is no money?
There is no money from one hand, and if there is money, it's very minimal. It's not enough to do anything. For example, if I want to buy a detector, I cannot get this money.
My question is whether your accelerator, your lab is in a bad position due to some political blah blah, and some other facility or some other experimental equipment is in better position, or simply everyone is in bad position?
Some are in slightly better, because you know, the younger you are, the less fund you get in my country. The younger you are, the less fund you get. Yeah, the senior you are, the more support you get. Your voice will be louder. But in my case, I think I should focus on my science. One day I will get louder voice. Yeah, let's hope. Let's hope. So in terms of funding, I said we have very limited fund. From Jordan, we have nothing. We have minimal funding from the university, but most of the time, I'm not able to get it because of the policy that they arranged. I mean by others, either I pay something if I find in the local market, I don't hesitate to pay and buy it. This is what I usually do. Other, if I don't find in the local market, I ask help from friends. So sometimes I meet some nice people in conferences, or I have the chance to visit their labs, and sometimes I borrow some stuff from them. It happens. And in terms of infrastructure, supporting infrastructure, the accelerator, when it was a gift from Germany, it was a gift with two workshops, mechanical and electronic. Yes, their role is not so huge, but they are helping. And in terms of technical details, I said we can accelerate what positive ions you want, and we can also produce multiply charged ions because we have gas stripper. Basically, it was part of the work I did during my PhD. In terms of energies, unfortunately, we cannot go nowadays above 1 megavolt. And in terms of beam current, we most of the time can reach 10th of nanoamperes. It happens sometimes, very rare, to get something like 1 micro, but not always.
It is these are values in the chamber after the collimators, or at some of the Faraday cups?
You mean this is?
Tens of nanos.
This is measured in the chamber by Faraday cup behind the sample.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this is in the chamber. Before it would be bigger.
Yes.
And in terms of hardware and software, this is part of our control room. We still keep the analog system that we got from high voltage engineering since 1980s. By the way, I was born in 1980, and this was manufactured in 1980-81. So I and our accelerator, we are almost in the same age. Also, in terms of software, for acquisition, we have the DPP MCA from the AMTEC, also thanks to the IAEA. Once we got the detector, we got also this software. In terms of softwares for analysis, we also got through the IAEA GUBEX, because now I'm focusing on ICSI. And in terms of staff, this is a very old image to these two nice guys. They were the JUVAC experts, the operator and the technician, and both of them, they were mainly physicists. I remember when I was a PhD student, we had 5 to 4 staff, JUVAC staff, just to operate and to do maintenance. Then the number started to decrease. When I got my position, we had 2, and nowadays we have only 1 fresh engineer. And in terms of research programs, for me, I see that JUVAC is mainly to do basic research, and this is what I did when I was a PhD student. I elaborated a new technique which took from me about 1.5 years just to design and to test every step in the experiment. Then to get data, I took 1 year more, but it was not of applicational side. What I'm doing nowadays, I'm focusing on applicational side. Why? Because I need fund. And you know, the mission of IAEA, the big funder for us, is to do something related to, let's say, research and development. So you need to do something with applicational side, so this is what I'm doing. In terms of users, if you count potential users, you can find the 3-4 professors that saying we are working in accelerators, but they never entered the accelerator since about 10 years. And if you ask the head of the department, he would say Hanan and her students. So I would count a few, because sometimes I get some former students of my ex-advisors who are coming interested to do some experiments, so we host some of them for a few months. So I could count that we are very few users compared to other facilities. In terms of partnerships, again, thanks to the IAEA, through the TC project, we have partnership of some countries in Arab countries of Asia, and thanks to Italy, through the IAEA, I got in relation with Labic Lab, and I'm still collaborating with them. What I do expect from this workshop, I'm already gaining what I expected. I hope to get discussion about the challenges. It's very useful to talk with someone who understands what you are talking about. So very much I'm grateful to you, Natko, not only from this workshop, even through our previous meetings, and also to get advice on troubleshooting. Yes, we will not be able to do troubleshooting, but at least advices are highly acknowledged. And also, even if we just exchange knowledge and experience, I'm always, I think I'm willing to learn new things. So this is one of my main goals. Also, an added point for me to run such a workshop in this facility, for me it's a good chance to visit IRB, because I heard about it many times from conferences. I met many nice people from IRB, but I never get the chance to come here. So for me it's even an advantage to come and see this facility and the people. And why didn't I nominate one of my colleagues to come, for example, the fresh operator? Because it happened a few years ago when I was very fresh in my career, that we nominated the previous operator, who was also a young operator, to go to Japan for training.
And to stay.
And no, he did not stay. Once he came back, like a month after, he started to study Japanese, and then he applied to continue his PhD, and he went. So I decided that if you want to train somebody about the facility, you should choose the one who's really interested in this facility and who really feels belonging to this place and who feels a responsibility.
Or to do some kind of agreement, you know, like contract.
Yes, but if
Actually, according to the IAEA rules, if I remember, I went for some trainings over the IAEA for fellowships. And if I remember well, I was supposed to make a commitment that I would stay for a period of time inside the lab.
Unfortunately, my university does not do this.
No, but this was the IAEA rule. Nobody asked me here, but I think that I had to sign something of that kind. I mean, this is a big problem. We always, the agency, my lab, is making, this with accelerators is a very little part of what we are doing, and the other part nuclear instrumentation, and what we call, maybe some of your colleagues, Egyptians for sure, many African countries are using this GFT, what we call GFT in my lab. It is a general group fellow training. Group fellow training, it will start in January next year, the next cycle, where we, as I said, where we start with basic interactions with gammas and betas and alphas, then go through basic electronics, then go through dedicated analog and digital electronics for the data acquisition systems, nuclear chain. Then we go through modern electronics with FPGAs, make some course in LabVIEW, and end up eventually with some micro projects, you know, where you apply that in some measurements that are interesting. In the past, this course would last for 6 months. Now we cut it down to 3 months and cut down some of the subjects, tried to reshape it. But it happened that the people who would pass through this eventually simply go to, you know, apply for a PhD somewhere, or, you know, and use this knowledge as this is a big problem, and several countries have such a problem, that whoever eventually gains some knowledge escapes. I don't know how to solve it. Our mission is to try to transfer it as much as possible, and how this knowledge is used and managed.
For me, I was to allowed to choose in 2 options. Either I nominate somebody who believes that this facility is so old and it should be thrown to trash, and he just got a job, you know, and for him you just throw it to trash, and it's an analog system, an old system, it cannot be refurbished, you cannot get anything out of it. Or to nominate someone who's really caring about it. I remember, like a few months ago, I was discussing with the dean about something related to the accelerator, and he said to me, Hanan, who cares about the accelerator? It's only you. And I think, okay, yes, it's only me. Yes, I do care. Yeah. Since I was a PhD student, because my experiment was basic atomic and molecular, it's low count rate. I was working on gaseous targets, and low density, and you need long running time. One of my experiments took me like 8 nights, beam on target. So nobody will stay with you with beam on target for 8 nights. So I was supposed to switch on, switch off, and when I lose the current, the beam, I was able to get it back thanks to our previous operator who taught me how to do this. So since I was a student, I'm used to switch it on, switch it off, and to get the beam back. Even now, up to date, when I have the experiment after 4, because I'm teaching, I cannot finish my experiments during the day. So normally I switch on and switch off and get the beam back. So I have some knowledge about operating, but let's say I did not learn this by purpose. I learned this by need, because I needed. And because I do care about it, and I don't mind to learn how to do things. Even now in the lab, if I need some help to carry some heavy stuff, I call my bachelor students, because I don't have technicians. So this is why I'm here. And now moving to the challenges and the problems with which I left till the end. We have lots of challenges and problems. Here I listed what I can talk about in a presentation. I have more challenges that maybe I will talk to you, but not in the presentation. So in terms of technical limitations, I said we are limited in terminal voltage. We suffer from overheating if we go higher in terminal voltage. And sometimes if we run the drive motor for longer time. We have problems in beam stability, beam energy. Nowadays, I don't trust the energy that I get. In beam focusing, we also have these problems. Most of the time, we have problematic cooling system. It's a very old system. And I'm trying to convince the university to replace it with a new one. So far, I have not succeeded, but you know, maybe in the future, I have big hope. And above all, we have lack of fund, lack of specialized operator, lack of specialized technicians, and lack of moral support. As the dean told me, who cares about the accelerator? So this is also moral support. So that's why I said I should keep doing good science until I build this support. And what do we have beside all these challenges, and where should we go to continue with this facility? Thanks for science to be really international. Thanks to all people that I collaborated with them, and I keep collaborating with them. I'm always grateful to IAEA. If they don't fund me, at least because of IAEA events, projects, I managed to meet very nice people and very helpful scientists who ended up as friends. So I benefited a lot from them. I'm also grateful to Italy, not because of LABIC only, but also because of ICTB. Most of my travels are covered by ICTB. So thanks for the international collaboration. And what I can also do, I can keep going. I can keep doing science. Sometimes the paper takes me 2 years to get published, but no problem. Then I publish, and with time we will be stronger, inshallah. In 2 weeks from now, my master's student will defend her thesis. I can tell you that the last PhD defended from this lab was mine in 2010. After me, no PhD student was doing experiment in JUVAC. There were 1 or 2 master students who did their master thesis in a way that I don't want to talk about. This thesis, the last one, the most recent one, is also mine. It's my student thesis. So I hope that with time we will have more students. And I do believe, since I was a student, that there is no better place to enjoy physics other than an accelerator laboratory. And even now, after 10 years of my PhD, I still have the same strength to believe in that. There is no better place to do physics and to enjoy physics and to keep engaged with science other than Accelerator. And yes, I know that loving what you do is not enough to keep you happy all the time, but at least it's enough to attract brilliant young generations around you. One of them you don't know, maybe he will be the next scientist with a louder voice that could support you one day. And that's all. Thank you.
Hanan.